Welcome to HoodChampionBoxing and Sports. In boxing, find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Saudi Arabia's golf case threatens to spill kingdom secrets. Boxing and undisclosed funds. Hedge funds? Maybe? Man, what the hell is going on out there in Saudi Arabia? That's what I want to know. And also, the United States has an interest in what's taking place out there in Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi officials oversee the kingdom's U.S. investments. Now, they haven't been shy about flaunting their ties with top America business and political figures. Now, they don't go into specifics when they're talking about some of the political figures, but they touch on a few people, but not our favorite guy, Kinahan. They just talk about different figures that Saudi is known for having relationships with. Now, officials who oversee Saudi Arabia's tens of billions of dollars in U.S. investments, they haven't been shy about flaunting their ties with top American business and political figures, down to wearing MAGA caps as they swing golf clubs alongside, guess who? Former President Donald Trump. But they've been silent about many of the details of these relationships and other relationships involving sports. Now, boxing's included in that. That's changing as a result of a federal lawsuit. Now, because they're being silent about details of the relationships, that's all changing as a result of a federal lawsuit in California pitting the Saudi-owned golf tour upstart LIV against the PGA Tour. I told you they don't play with those small ball sports. A judge, citing what she described as the kingdom's hands-on management of LIV, found that when it came to the new golf league, Saudi officials and the Saudi government aren't shielded from U.S. courts the way sovereign nations usually are. While Saudi Arabia is fighting the decision, see, Saudis don't want anybody knowing the details on any relationships they have with anyone and how they're investing their money and where the money's going, or, really coming from, but going to. Insisting U.S. courts have no jurisdiction over its high officials. The ruling means lawyers for the PGA Tour would be able to question top officials about business secrets that the Saudis have held close, such as details of deal making involving 2024 presidential candidate Donald Trump and others. U.S. District Judge Beth Lapson Freeman found that the Saudis had smacked up against a commercial exception to U.S. laws on sovereign immunity. That means if they want to go at them and give them pressure, the United States can. Yasser Al Rumayyan, appointed under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to manage the oil-rich Saudi government's $600 billion plus stockpile of wealth, is up to his eyeballs in managing the golf tour. The findings follow PGA Tour claims that Al Rumayyan himself recruited LIV players, approved LIV contracts, and was otherwise the golf league's decision maker and manager, if that's not a conflict of interest. Lawyers for Saudi Arabia countered that Rumayyan's actions were those of an eager investor and not of someone actually running a business. Now, could that be the same thing with Prince Khalid and what he has going on with boxing and Amir Abdallah and Derek Chisora, where you're going to get a report coming out saying that the guys who are behind that are just eager investors and not actually running a business? The case matters beyond the world of golf. Saudi Arabia has been assertive in U.S. business investments and political relationships and can now face court demands for greater transparency and accountability. The insistence by Saudi officials that U.S. courts have little or no say over their actions is especially sensitive. Last year, the kingdom, with legal backing from the Biden administration, successfully argued that American courts had no authority to try the prince in the lawsuit over the 2008 killing of U.S.-based journalist Jamal Khashoggi. U.S. intelligence officials had concluded that aides and other Saudi officials sent by the prince killed Khashoggi. The slaying has opened a lasting rift between the Biden administration and Prince Mohammed, Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler. Long-standing international law generally protects the leaders and governments of one country from being hauled into another country's courts. Congress carved out commercial activity as an exception to that sovereign immunity in 1976. The PGA Tour argued in a filing Friday that Saudi Arabia and its sovereign wealth fund under the prince have a record of flip-flopping on insisting upon sovereign immunity, depending on whether doing so works to their advantage in various business deals and lawsuits. Saudi Arabia's critics and independent legal experts and analysts say the kingdom may be in a tough spot legally. It seemed to me very clear that it wasn't immune from U.S. courts when it came to operating the LIV golf course and tournaments, said Donald Baker, a lawyer and former head in the Justice Department's Antitrust Division, who is not involved in the case. Baker projected the case could lead to California North District Federal Court seeking depositions from Saudi royals. Any decision on whether Saudi government business deals in the United States have similarly lost their immunity from U.S. courts would have to be made on a case-by-case basis, he said. Sarah Lee Whitson, who runs the Democracy for the Arab World Now rights group founded by Khashoggi, said that if they want to have sovereign immunity from the business transactions, it means they can sue people. They can demand that judicial system enforces contracts and the laws governing contracts, but nobody can impose that against them. That's crazy. Nobody can hold them accountable. The Saudis funded professional golf tour, now in the second season, and with the slogan of golf, but louder, is known for its blaring music, record multi-million-dollar purses. I'm going to say that again. Record multi-million-dollar purses. That's what's going on with boxing too, right? Ties with Trump and unfriended rivalry with the PGA Tour. Again, small ball sports, key decision makers don't play. Trump courses this year will host 3 LIV tournaments and deals whose financial terms have not been publicly disclosed. Keeping secrets, huh? That sound familiar to anybody? Can't disclose the financial terms of where the money's coming from? Saudi Arabia's immunity problem comes in an antitrust lawsuit that was initially brought by LIV players against the long-established PGA Tour. The case already has revealed that the Saudi government's sovereign wealth fund owns 93% of LIV. A lawyer for the Saudi Arabia side of the case did not respond to an email from the Associated Press seeking comment. A LIV spokeswoman referred questions to the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, which also did not respond to requests for comments. Yeah, they're not going to talk about the money. Under the now 8-year rule of Saudi Arabia's King Salman, his son Prince Mohammed has made the kingdom's sovereign wealth fund a primary tool of Saudi investment at home and abroad. The prince is the fund's chairman. Saudi officials say the aim is to diversify the kingdom's oil-funded economy. Under Prince Mohammed and fund governor Al Rumayyan, the fund has more than $30 billion invested in Uber, Meta, luxury electric car brand, and Telsa rival Lucid, PayPal, Costco, and other publicly traded U.S. businesses. The fund also, this is crazy, right? The fund also consolidated Saudi's relationship with the Trump family, using Trump golf courses and directing $2 billion to the investment firm of Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Rumayyan sits on the board of Uber. He plays golf with Trump. He triggered one of Elon Musk's bigger tweet storms and legal cases when Musk tweeted about what he later testified was a prospect of a Saudi sovereign wealth fund deal to take Tesla private. The Saudi sovereign wealth fund, they keep talking about this damn wealth fund, right? Also is spending heavily on sports. In addition to creating the Live Golf Tour, the Saudis have bought the Newcastle United soccer team in Britain's Premier League and hosted what I've been talking about, Formula One races, horse races, with record prize money, and other tournaments and matches from snooker to boxing and chess. Now, let me tell you something. They're really trying to rebrand the kingdom, using sports to reach a much wider public audience and trying to tap into some of the passion that people have. Now, this is what we need to understand about this. I told you, when you start throwing that big money around, right? Look, people are gonna start asking questions. Now, some of these lawyers are saying that, hey, the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund and the Saudis are saying, hey, look, these are unfair practices for them to come after us and trouble us and want to get in our business. But of course, the lawyers are saying, look, Saudi Arabia and the type of things that take place over there, that's what's scaring away business. And these guys are just using their money to basically whitewash what they're doing through sports, but also to buy people. And there's nothing they can really do about it at this time. But they are working. When I say they, I'm talking about over here in the United States, man. And out there in Washington, D.C. They are trying to figure out how they can really dig in to Saudi Arabia and its business dealings and these wealth funds, these hedge funds, and all these billions of dollars that are floating around, to really make sense on how these guys are able to just have this record prize money for all these different tournaments, including boxing. And all I'm going to say is more to come on what's happening out there with Saudi Arabia using sports to reach a much wider audience, where people are saying, look, there's foul play taking place. And I think for these guys, it's a lot of corruption, obviously. I'm thinking the small ball sports will be less interested, but you got Trump out there, and you just have other people. Like I said, if you're going to put up $250 million for a golf tournament, people are going to be interested. People will set their integrity aside to go after that money. If you're going to pay a guy like Wilder, a guy like AJ, well, Tyson Fury burned a bridge, but if you're going to pay them 50, 60, 80 million, $100 million for a fight, these guys are going to come out there. But again, I said, when that kind of money is being floating around, being floated around, it's going to drive questions. It's going to drive an examination and a re-examination. And that's what's happening right now. And I just think what's next is going to be for boxing. I just think it's coming. They're already mentioning it. But that being said, more to come on Saudi Arabia, more to come on this whole thing with golf, boxing, these funds, more to come. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I'm in the breeze.